Alright, time to introduce a new format. Every Sunday we'll take a look at the price changes of some of the most commonly farmed materials, so that you know what farms to prioritize and what items to craft in the coming week. Before we get to the actual numbers, let's take a look at some news that seems to be grossly misunderstood. During the latest shareholders meeting, NCSoft mentioned Guild Wars 3, and despite what some articles are mentioning, the game is not in development yet. But the good news is that NCSoft is not opposed to the idea of a new version coming out at some time in the future, which at least shows confidence in the IP and the studio. But let's get to the good stuff now. Since Totems' release, globs of Ectoplasm have been on the rise, and since the latest patch even more so. Last week they bumped up another 10% in value and they're hovering around 33 to 34 silver right now. I clearly chose the worst time to unlock the Sandstorm achievement, but that's just business as usual at this point. If you'd like to farm some Ectos this week, I recommend the usual meta events such as Auric Basin, as well as some pseudo farms like the Bitterfrost Frontier or Istan. I already covered all of the best methods in one of my older guides, which I'll link in a pinned comment. A side product of opening chests will be Imperial Fragments. A lot of players like to delete these once their storage fills up, but instead I recommend crafting toxic focusing crystals, which can be sold for up to 10 silver of profit each. Vials of Crystalline Dust's price remains stable, which means you do not want to be salvaging your Ectos. Instead, either sell them on the trading post and make sure you list them, as the orders will fill near instantly anyway, since they're one of the most in-demand items in the game. Alternatively, you can use them to either craft Cryptis motivations or relics. All three motivations should net you significant amounts of profit at this moment. They cost between 1.7 and 2.3 gold to craft and can be sold for up to 5 gold. If you're in dire need of essences, make sure you run your weekly rifts and 3 weekly convergences. There is a public version every 3 hours which I recommend joining. You could open a convergence yourself with an unstable motivation, but since those are being sold for 10 gold each, you're better off selling them yourself as well. You also have a rare chance to get these from tier 2 and 3 rifts. I've run quite a few squads and we seem to be getting one every 9 or 10 rifts we close. If you want to join us on those, make sure to keep an eye out on the LFG or join my Discord where I announce these things. Crafting relics is something that seems to have largely gone under the radar since this expansion's launch. You do have to buy the recipes with Charms of Brilliance, but you should be able to recoup your investment rather quickly. All of them are being sold at significant profits when listing them, and some can even be instantly sold. Except for Crystalline Dust, all tier 6 materials have slightly gone down in price this week, which was to be expected as the initial rush to craft the obsidian armor is probably over. I do expect their price to remain somewhat consistent though, as Soto introduced a lot of sinks for these kinds of items. These going down in price does not mean they're not worth farming, however. If you have some spirit shards to spend, you can upgrade Vials of Blood, Venom Sacs and Totems for a quick profit. Totems are rather annoying to target farm, but Vials of Blood and Venom Sacs are easy to come by. Check both of my guides in the pinned comment, as the gold per hour will rival most meta trains, and you can farm these at your own pace. If you have even more shards to spend, you could upgrade some elemental cores or gamble them on charms and symbols. Keyword for the last one is gamble. Since the outcome will be random, make sure you have enough to process a decently high number so that your result will be near the average. Doing this only a single time runs you the risk of coming out at a loss. Lastly, a quick tip for the people crafting Generation 3 legendaries: you can exchange up to 50 flawless fish fillets for chunks of ancient ambergris per day. That means if you buy order the ascended fish, you save about 25 silver per ambergris. Currently it isn't worth selling these on the trading post, as the taxes will ruin any profit you would stand to make. That's it for this week. Both of the spreadsheets in this video are available on my Discord, and if you have any other comments or questions, just shoot. Make sure you also like, subscribe, and feel free to send me a Shack infusion if you really don't know what to do with your gold.